Yarny.
Hello, welcome to another Yarny tutorial. In this video, you will learn how to make the waffle stitch.
Woo!
The waffle stitch, as you can see here, is a beautiful stitch that resembles the waffles. With the waffle stitch, you can make blankets or this oversized dishcloth like I did, or even scarves. Really, the option is yours. The waffle stitch works in pairs of rows, meaning that we crochet 2 rows over and over because to form a full square, we need the 2 rows together. It's really not difficult because all you need to know to achieve a waffle stitch is a slip knot with chains for the foundation, and then it's really just different ways of doing the double crochet stitches. Now for the foundation chains, there's 2 things to remember. First, make sure you work in multiples of 3. This means that you need to make sure the total number of chains can be divided by 3 and still get to a whole number. For example, 21 chains divided by 3 is 7, and this is great because it's a whole number. But if you did 22 chains, that won't work because divided by 3, that would be 7.23, which is not a whole number. So you can simply chain enough chains so that it reaches the desired length of your project while making sure it's a multiple of 3. Now the second thing to remember for the foundation chain is to add 2 chains after you've reached the desired length of your project and you've made sure you chained a multiple of 3 as mentioned in step 1. So to show you guys how to do the waffle stitch, I'll do a little patch big enough so you can see how it's done. So for this little patch, I'll do 20 chains, which is basically a multiple of 3 with the number 18. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so that's my multiple of 3. And then I'm adding 2 chains. So 18 plus 2, I'll do a total of 20 chains. In order to do my chains, I have to start with a slip knot. So to do the slip knot, I'll simply take the tail end of my yarn here, and I'll wrap it around my index finger like this. And I'll bring the tail end of my yarn on top of the working yarn. So the working yarn here is the side that's attached to your ball of yarn. Then I'm taking my working yarn here and wrap it around my finger as well. Now I'm holding on to both ends here. And in the back loop, I'll just pull onto the back loop, bring it forward. And I have my slip knot. Now I'll simply take my crochet hook and then I'll tighten my slip knot like this, and I will go ahead and do my 20 chains. So a chain, very simple, wrap the yarn around your hook and pull it through the loop on your hook. So I have my 1 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you can simply keep going, adding more chains until the desired length of your project, but just make sure that it's a multiple of 3 and then plus 2 chains. So now that we have this little foundation chain here, so we're going to add a row of basically double crochet. So the double crochet, we're going to insert the first double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So remember, we never count the loop on the hook as a stitch or a chain. And so the 3rd chain from the hook means this is my first chain, and then I have my 2nd, and this is my 3rd here, this one right here. So in order to do my double crochet starting from the 3rd chain from the hook, I will wrap the yarn around my hook and then I insert my hook inside that 3rd chain, and then I wrap the yarn around my hook to pull it back through the chain like this. So you will find 3 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it through the first 2 loops only, like this. And then you still have 2 loops left on your hook. Now you'll wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it through both of the loops. So now you have your first double crochet. what we basically want to do is insert 1 double crochet in each of the next chains all the way until the end of the row here. So I'll go ahead and do my double crochet in each of the next chains. So after completing all of the double crochet in each of the chains, this is what you will have, and this is basically, let's call it the foundation row. And so let me just show you on this little patch I did here. Basically what we just worked on is this green section. So we did a foundation chain, and then we added double crochet on the foundation chain, which formed this bottom green section. Now, remember at the beginning of the video when I said that the waffle stitch basically works in pair of rows, where we will crochet 2 rows over and over to form squares. So as you can see, I have the yellow section and the blue section, and the yellow section and the blue section. So the yellow is 1 row that we will be repeating, and the blue is the second row that we will be repeating. So the yellow row with the blue row here, when they're put together, they will form the squares of the waffle stitch here. Now, one thing I want you to make sure to remember, that if you want full squares, you definitely want to finish your project with one of those yellow rows. So let's call this yellow row the first repeated row, and the blue the second repeated row. So you want to finish your project with a yellow row, which is the first repeated row, because if you finish with a blue one, you would basically have half a square, so it would look kind of like unfinished. So now that we have completed the green section, which is the foundation row, I'll show you how to do this first section of the repeated row. So back to our foundation row that we did here. After the last double crochet that you have completed, you are going to go ahead and chain 3. So chain 1, 2, and 3. So this chain 3, you will do that in between each of the additional rows that you will be adding. After you chain 3, make sure you turn your project around. So turning the project is essential because we always want to work from the right side towards the left. Now, this row that we're going to do now, I'll call it row number 1 out of the 2 rows that we will be repeating. So this row number 1 that we will be repeating, I'll introduce you to a new term, which is the front post double crochet. Now, remember that this 3 chain that you do in between each row will count as your first double crochet. So the front post double crochet simply means that instead of doing your double crochet on top of the stitch as you would usually do, meaning wrapping the yarn around your hook, usually you would insert your hook under the top of the stitch like this. The front post double crochet simply means that you will insert your hook under the post here. So each of your double crochet creates a post. So 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and so on. So you insert your hook under the full post like this. Now, which post is your first one to insert? So remember I said the 3 chain count as your first double crochet. This means your first stitch here, which is the first post here, is completed. You're not going to work on this stitch. You're going to work on the second post here. So wrap the yarn around your hook, insert your hook under the second post, and then wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it under back through the post. Now you will see 3 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it through the first 2 loops only, and then wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it through the last 2 loops. So this is your first double crochet on the front post. So the front post double crochet, what it does is that it pulls the stitch forward which will ultimately create the square or the waffle effect. Now after you have completed one front post double crochet, the next 2 stitches will be regular double crochet stitches. So wrap the yarn around your hook, and then you simply insert your hook inside under the top of the next stitch, just like you would regularly do a double crochet. So this is my first regular double crochet, and then I'll do another regular double crochet on the top of the next stitch. So I have completed 2 regular double crochets. Now the following stitch is again going to be a front post double crochet. So under the post, like this. And now back to 2 regular double crochet. Basically, the idea is that you will do 1 front post double crochet, then 2 regular double crochet, 1 front post double crochet, followed by 2 regular double crochet. So I have completed 2 regular double crochet. I'm back at my front post double crochet. Just like this, and then back to the regular double crochet. And then front post double crochet, back to 2 regular double crochet, after my 2 regular, I'll do a front post double crochet, and then again I'll do 2 regular double crochet, so I'm reaching towards the end of my row here, and as you can see, I just completed 2 regular double crochet, and if you look at your stitches, you should see 2 more double crochet. So 1 here, 1 here, and then the 2 chains that you did at the beginning. So what we're going to do to finish this row is we're going to do 1 more front post double crochet to be consistent with what we have done so far. So after 2 regular double crochet stitches, we always do 1 front post double crochet, and then in the next double crochet stitch that's left here, I'll do a regular double crochet, meaning on top of the stitch. Let me just restart this last double crochet like this. And then the little 2 chains that you completed at the beginning, we will just ignore it. So we will end the row just like this. Now remember, to add another row, we have to do 3 chains in between. So 1, 2, and 3. So basically, going back to this reference here, what we have simply just completed now is this first yellow row here, which is the first repeating row. Now we're going to work on this blue row here, which is the second repeating row that we will work on. So after I chained 3, of course, I will turn my project around. And then remember I said that the 3 chains that we completed here is always counted as your first double crochet. Now, when you turn your project around, you should notice that you will have some double crochet from the previous rows that are pulled backwards. Like for instance, here, 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 here. So these are all pulled backwards, but you have these here, 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 here that are double crochet that are pulled front or towards you, that are popping out. So what you want to do now is basically do a regular, you will start with a regular double crochet. So this first chain here is counted as a double crochet, so this first stitch is already worked on. This second stitch that you see here is pulled backwards. This double crochet here is pulled backwards. You will do a regular double crochet on top of this. And then the next 2 stitches, you see that the stitch is popping out towards you. These 2 will be the front post double crochet. So we do our first front post double crochet. And then the second front post double crochet. And now the next stitch is again pulled backwards. So regular double crochet. So this, you will note, is very repetitive. Basically, now what you're doing is 1 regular double crochet followed by 2 front post double crochet. So I'm at my front post double crochet, and then the second front post double crochet, and then back to my regular double crochet, and then again the 2 front post double crochet. And the waffle stitch is very nice because technically you don't really need to count your stitch. As you add on the rows, you will see very clearly what you need to do next. And you will notice very quickly also if you've made a mistake, because you won't see a square. So after my 2 front posts, I'm back to my regular double crochet. And then 2 front post double crochet. So that was my first front post, and now I'm doing a second front post double crochet. And then back to the regular double crochet. Now your front post double crochet again. And then another front post double crochet. So we're basically reaching the end of the row here. After I did my 2 front posts double crochet, you should note that you have 2 stitches left, which is basically a double crochet that is pulled backwards, and the 3 chains you did at the start. So now what we're going to do is 2 regular double crochet. So the first regular double crochet on top of your next double crochet, and then the second double crochet will simply be on top of that 3 chains you did. So on top of the 3 chains, you will have your last stitch of your row, which is a regular double crochet. So now basically we have completed the second repeating row. So what we just completed is this blue row right here. Now basically I've taught you how to do the yellow row and the blue row, and what we're simply going to do is just repeating these 2 rows on and on until we reach the desired length of your project. So now we're basically back to doing the yellow row. And before we do that, of course, we have to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and then turn our project around. And then working from the right side to the left. Now you can already start seeing the squares appearing. And as you can note, this will start to get easy because these front posts here that are popping out towards you is your indication of where you need to work your front post double crochet, versus the ones that are more towards the back here. These back of the squares here is where you will do your regular double crochet. So if I show you what I mean here. So again, this 3 chain counts as your first double crochet. Now your square here, you already see the shape of your square, and you know that this next stitch here is popping out, which is your front post double crochet. So it's exactly what you will do. Front post double crochet, and then the next one, you see the stitches are backwards, so these will be your regular double crochet. And now still here, we're back to the front post. And now 2 regular double crochet. Again, as you keep on adding rows, you will find it easier to know where you need to insert your front post double crochet versus your regular double crochet. And by the way, remember when I said that you should always finish your project by ending with the first repeating row? So the first repeating row is basically this yellow row that I taught you. And so if now we're basically doing this yellow row again, but on this height here. So if you don't finish your project with the first repeating row, which is the yellow row, you will see that you have a half a square here, versus here you have full squares. So my next stitch, again, front post, double crochet, and then 2 regular double crochet. And then again, a front post double crochet. And then 2 regular double crochet. And then back to front post double crochet. And then 2 regular double crochet. Now your last front post double crochet. and then on the 3 chain that you did at the beginning, you will end with a regular double crochet at the top of that chain. So we basically now see 2 sets of squares here. So one set here, one set here, and these are our full waffle stitches. And if you want to add on more rows, like I mentioned, simply chain 3, turn your project around, and it's the same concept. Wherever you see these stitches that are popping out, like here, 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 onward, is always where you want to do your front post double crochet. So your first stitch here is backwards and not popping out, so you will do a regular double crochet. And then the next 2 are popping out, so you will do 2 front post double crochet. So my first front post, I'll do my second front post. And then again, the next stitch is popping inwards or backwards there, so a regular double crochet. And then the next 2 are popping out, so front post double crochet for the next 2. And now you end your row with 2 regular double crochet because there's nothing popping out anymore. And then adding more rows, we will chain 3. Turn the project around. Now the front side of your project, which is this side here, is always easier for you to see where you need to insert your front post versus regular double crochet. So you can already see the previous rows here. All the front posts are here, 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 and here, which means your starting point of your next row will be a front post here. Otherwise, your squares will look uneven and funky. So since I have a front post here, I know that here I need to do a front post. After a front post, the stitches are going backwards, so these will be regular double crochet. And then another regular double crochet, followed by, you've guessed it, a front post. And then 2 regular double crochet. So as you add on rows, you can see how easy it is for you to know where you will insert your front post versus the regular, because you will see the shapes of the squares. So now I'm ending with a last front post double crochet. And then end the row with a regular double crochet on the 3 chain, the top of the 3 chain. So this is basically my patch, and like I mentioned, you just keep adding on rows to add more squares until the desired length of your project. Once you're done, all you have to do is essentially cut your yarn, and you can basically just pull your yarn like this to make a little knot. And then you can work with a yarn needle or simply your crochet hook just to weave the ends of your yarn a little bit back and forth inside your project so that it doesn't show, and then you can just cut these yarns basically. And you can do the same on both ends. Just going back and forth in between the stitches just to weave in the tails. You can do this as long as you want. So this is how you achieve the waffle stitch. I hope in this video you understood how easy it is to achieve this waffle stitch, even if it looks daunting at first, and that you will be able to make really nice projects, whether it's blanket or dishcloth or scarves, whatever you want. Now, thank you for watching this video. Again, don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe to our channel for more content. See you soon!